to see you once again. So today we're going to be making a pants pattern. It's going to be easy and simple and beginners friendly. I remember the first time I made a pants as a beginner. I was not making my pants. I had my seam, my side seam, curving right to the front, like it curves right to the front of my pants. It was a mess. So later on I found this technique that worked for me and I have been using it for years. So I am going to teach you this technique and how to make your own pants pattern. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching my video, guys. See you in my next video. Now, first thing to do is to mark your hip divided by 4 on your pattern all the way down to the bottom. Now, my hip divided by 4 is 11.5. Now, I am taking that measurement from the edge of my pattern and I am taking it all the way down. Now, next thing you will do is to connect the lines with a ruler. Now, on that line, I take 1 inch downwards. Now, I will take 1 inch inwards. Now, I will just connect the line and extend this line upwards. Now, next thing I will do is to take from this line, I will take my waist measurement divided by 4 and I would add 1 inch for that. Now, the next thing to do is to connect this line to this dot line, just like this. Now, this is how you get your waist to hip point. Take your shoulder to tiniest part of your waist, which is 17, and your shoulder to your blouse length, which is 25 for me. Now, when you minus 25 from 17, you have 8 inch, and that is what my hip point is going to be. That is your waist to hip. Now, I will be taking 8 inch right there. Now, to get your crotch depth, what you need to do is divide your hip by 4. My hip is 46, divided by 4 is 11.5. Now, I would mark 11 inch on my pattern because I would be taking ½ inch out for my band. So now I am taking 11 inch right there for my crotch depth. Now, to get your waist to the knee measurements, standard is usually from 20 inch to 22 inch. Now, for me, it is 22 inch. Or you can also go on and measure your waist to your knee, and that is what I just marked there. Right now, I am taking my waist to where I want my trouser to stop, which is my ankle, and I took 1.5 inch for seam, joining allowance at the bottom, and that is what I just did. Now, next thing to do is to take your thigh measurement, the circumference of your thigh. You take it like this and you make sure your tape is right beneath your bum. Now, my thigh measurement, my thigh circumference is 29 inch. I will divide that by 2 and that would give me 14.5, and I will be taking it at my crotch depth line. Now, just extend the line like so, and right on that line I would also add 1.5 inch for my crotch allowance. 1.5 for crotch allowance. Now I would connect that line to my hip with a curve. Now connect your darts with a curve towards your hip. And also connect this to the 1 inch that was taken previously. We will find the midpoint of this to this. Place your tape and find the midpoint. Now I will be using 5 inch for my darts, and I would connect the line. Now place 1/2 inch on each side and connect the lines. Now this is how you get your dart placement on your pants. Moving on, I will be taking 1 inch on my knee and 1 inch at the ankle end. Now we are going to connect this line to the ankle, just like that. And again, we are going to connect this to this and connect the lines. Just like that. And now we are going to connect this to this. Now using my ruler, I will just make dotted lines. And the next thing I will do is to find the midpoint from my crotch to my knee area, and I come down by 1/2 inch at that midpoint. Now I would create a curve just like that, and I'll create my curve like this because it is not supposed to be straight, it's meant to be curvy. Now I would go on and cut this out. Now guys, you can cut hair, don't touch hair. We're going to use that to retrace so as to create the back pattern. Then after which we would cut it out. Now fold this part in, that is your ankle line, and start cutting the rest out because it's not meant to be straight, it's meant to be a little bit slanted. Now next thing to do is to take your ankle circumference and divide it by 2 and place whatever you get right there. I am using 9 inch. Now I would connect that to my knee. Place your ruler and connect it to your knee and connect the lines just like this. Next thing we will do is fold your ankle line inwards and cut the rest out. So I'm sorry guys, I finished making my back pattern only to realize my video wasn't recording. Now this line you see here is my pocket line. I am going to show you how I did that, don't worry. So now moving on, place your front pattern on a new pattern so as to cut the back. Now make sure you have about 2 inch right here, and we are going to measure that and see. I have about 2 inch. Now what we'll do is retrace the front pattern on this new pattern all the way around. Now next thing I will do is to mark out the lines. Now this way I can connect with my ruler, so I would know where my hip line is, my crotch line is, my knee line is, my ankle line is, to make everything so much more easier. Now from this line, we are going to take 1.5 inch upwards. Now, if you're a very slim person, use 1 inch. If you are in between, use 1.5. If you are making for a very big person, use 2 inch. Now we're going to go outwards by 2 inch. This is going to be for seam allowance because the back is usually bigger than the front and all the seam falls at the back. So now connect the lines like so. Extend your line outwards and also connect this line all the way down. Now I just extended my hip measurements. Now we are going to use 2.5 inch for crotch back seam. Now your back seam crotch is 2.5 inch. Now connect this line to your hip with a curve. Now we are going to take 2 inch all the way. We are going to take 2 inch all the way upwards. And this 2 inch is for seam allowance. Connect your lines. Now what I like to do is I place my tape rule from my crotch to my knee area and I find the midpoint, and right there I come down by 1/2 inch. Now next thing I would do is to connect the lines. This is meant to be curved, it's not meant to be straight, so this is how I get my curve. Now we are going to find our dots, and on this line I will take out 1 inch, which is 1 inch for my dots. Now from this line I will find the midpoint to this line. Now I find the midpoint. Now I would be using 6 inch for my back dots because the back dart is usually longer than the front dart. Remember I used 5 inch for my back, my front dart. Now I am using 6 inch for my back dart. Now we are done and we are going to cut out the pattern. And next thing to do is to place it on your fabric and cut out your front, cut out your back. And I am going to show you how to do that and how to notch on your place notches on your fabric. It's as easy as ABC. Now also remember to fold in your ankle so as to get the curve. And now back to the front pattern. Now we can cut this out. Now this is how I made my pocket. Place 2 inch from the edge of your hip side pattern, and I am taking 6 inch for the depth of my pocket. Now I would create a curve like that, and I would add ½ inch for seam allowance, just like that, and I will place another pattern underneath it, and I want my pocket to stop around my crotch area and around my dart area. I just retraced, and now I am just eyeballing how deep I want it to be and creating a curve. Next thing to do is cut it out. It's as easy as this. Now next thing you can do is cut out at the ½ inch seam you placed. Now place another pattern underneath it, and I am going to retrace this from the crotch area again and retrace the pocket seam and connect to the crotch area and to the dart area. Now I will place the facing, and I would retrace just like this, and I would cut it out. Now you get your pockets. Easy and simple. Now this is going to serve as my zip. That will be my zip allowance, and I'll just tape that down. I am making sure I have about 1½ inch. Now I am just connecting the lines, cutting off the excess, connecting the lines again, and I would also cut off the excess. So we have come to the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe, and I will make another video on